Welcome, everybody. This is Season 3, Episode number 5 of the Unofficial Official Story. I'm Kat.
I'm Dwayne.
And I'm Koji.
Well, this is where we tell you the official story. We look at the paranormal, conspiracies, unexplained phenomena, cryptids, and true crime, and by the end, we'll tell you what really maybe happened. In this episode, we're asking, was Saved by the Bell a vehicle for the Illuminati?
Dun, dun, dun.
Gas.
But first, let's introduce our guest, actor, former host of the Unofficial Official Story, and friend of the podcast, Jennifer Field. She's with us.
Hey!
What?
Oh my God.
Old
It's like,
stomping grounds.
dude, it's like almost like no time has passed.
Very nice.
I was like, wait, what?
Jennifer Field is a California native, born and raised in the San Francisco Bay Area. Yay, area.
What?
After winning Miss Asian America and earning her bachelor's in theater, she made her way down to Los Angeles with no savings to speak of, a connection to work at a nightclub, and the determination to make her attorney father and immigrant mother proud. With training that ranges from the Groundlings to Marin Shakespeare Company, Jennifer has a wide range of it as an actress. She started immersing herself in acting as a child with training in dance and voice, and worked with her local community theaters. As an experienced news reporter and host, she recently co-hosted the Unofficial Official Story podcast for 2 seasons.
That's us.
Yeah, that's a
Reppin'.
credit.
As Jennifer's fresh off her run as the notorious assistant DA Jennifer Arden on ABC's General Hospital. What?
You were actually Jennifer? Jennifer is a
Yeah.
Jennifer. Oh.
Yeah,
Isn't
that
that
makes it
crazy?
so much easier. Yeah. Other recent credits include a co-star role on Station 19, ABC, and recurring roles in the Primetime Emmy and Peabody Award-winning series Artificial on Twitch, The Old Man on FX, and Roswell, New Mexico. Roswell, that sounds right up our alley.
Yes.
Her proudest achievement to date, though, has been raising her 10-year-old son.
Yay!
And being on the podcast.
And being on the podcast.
And being on the
I mean,
Close.
that's the biggest
Really
one.
close
That's
second.
going
Yeah,
on my
yes.
tombstone.
Yes. How are you, Jennifer?
I'm good. I just realized that bio is so long. Ew.
is. It's
like,
really long.
dude, you should have cut it. But hello, like Cody, you
Right,
should have cut it for me. Yeah, so wow, that was weird to kind of hear it the other way around. But I did say I wanted to be back, so it's nice to be
Great
back.
seeing you. Great seeing you.
Yeah.
And you know what about the podcast? I mean, the bio, it's a little long, but I heard a comment. Shout out to her name. I'll get her name in a second. But she was on stage and she said something that a phrase I never heard before, but it was like achievement. What do you call it when you forget things?
Achievement amnesia?
Yes. I know that I wasn't trying to be funny, but yeah,
It
achievement.
was a senior moment. It's
yes,
okay. It's
achievement amnesia, which I thought, wow, that's a great term because
You just had amnesia.
Yeah, I had amnesia.
Well, what's worse is when it's like you're on an interview or some kind of thing on stage and they read a bio from Wikipedia that's like 10 years old or 5 years old. Maybe not you because you're 10 years old, but but like, I mean, Dwayne's probably had this where like people read like this. I'm like, wait, this is from like 15 years ago. You're not talking about anything like that I've done in like last like 15 years. It's kind of crazy.
Exactly. And it's Melanie Hill said that. And I just thought, what a great term, because that's a very something to easily suffer from in our business, because you're always striving for the next thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
achievement
Yeah,
amnesia.
amnesia,
You're
which is
forgetting
why-
about how far you've come.
And what you've done. And that's why I'm glad Koji has the posters in the studio, because it's like, you know, you got to remind yourself sometimes, you know. And I meant to say Melinda Hill. I'm my brain. I'm having so many senior
I was gonna
moments.
say,
Yes.
there is a picture of Dwayne Perkins on the wall in here.
That's my favorite one.
Okay.
That's Take Note, which Koji produced, helped with me with that, and I had a good run, and it's people still talk about it to this day.
Oh my
Nice.
God.
Yeah, they
Is it-
took
I
they
was
took
like,
that was a
note.
long
Or is
time
it-
ago.
It's a
but-
special, yes,
Special,
it's
yes.
Oh.
special.
They took note of it.
They took note of it. So anyway, Jennifer,
Anyway.
so don't suffer from that.
What are you doing this summer?
We have a bunch of vacations coming up.
Where are you going?
We're going to actually Yosemite and
Okay.
Sequoia this Friday. I haven't been to Yosemite since I was a kid because isn't it like super crowded over there?
Yeah.
Because I've tried
I heard
to
it's like the
avoid it.
101. It's like the 101 right now. That's what they said.
Oh wow, this time of year.
Yeah, because
Oh,
it's
wow.
so hard to get in and out.
Okay, I don't know. if
I
I'm
went
gonna do that.
a couple years ago to Zion National Park,
Oh.
and it's like Disneyland. Like
It
there's
is pretty
Utah,
popular
right?
now.
Is that
buses
Utah?
everywhere.
Or Utah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It didn't used to be that way. I think
Yeah.
since Instagram and since COVID,
Oh yeah,
It is
and,
like
very
Zion got more
Instagrammable.
popular.
and
Yeah.
YouTube, like
Yeah.
everyone's. I was overseas and I went to a spot and it was like I was in Alhambra. No, because everyone was Asian and it was like fish soup.
So you hate Asian people, basically.
No. I mean, I was there myself, right? But it just was like, what is this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that's the YouTube, I think, sort of
the effect.
yeah, because everyone's sort of like plugged into the same influencers, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
When I was a kid, and we do family vacations, I'd take pictures of the people taking pictures.
Nice.
And my mom would be because back then you'd have to like.
It was a
She
film.
wouldn't know, right?
You had to go get it like developed. It cost money, and she'd just be like, "Why are there like 4 rolls of just other people taking pictures?"
That's
and I loved it because, but like my mom was like, "I'm never developing pictures ever again," because it's like there'd be like 0 family pictures and all like random family taking pictures of the Grand Canyon. And you didn't even see the Grand Canyon, right? You just saw the people taking the pictures of the Grand Canyon.
Oh my gosh, dude! I guess there's something to that. Right?
You were ahead of your time. That was like 2 girls in 1 cup reaction videos or something. Yes.
All right, should we get started then?
Yeah,
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so before we get into it, I want to mention that my summer intern, Darren Shivmer, wrote this episode. So thank you, Darren. And Darren is my college intern as opposed to my high school intern this time.
Oh,
so
very nice.
Okay. All right, let's get the story straight once and for all.
Let's do it.
So, was Saved by the Bell, a beloved 90s sitcom about 6 high school teens, a vehicle for the satanic ambitions of the elusive Illuminati? What? First, let's start with a quick synopsis of what exactly was Saved by the Bell about. You know, by the way, this is where I guess is any time to give a little bit of disclaimer here. I actually just met Mario Lopez. I worked with him 2 days on a game show. He was pretty cool. Didn't try to recruit me or anything. So I don't know.
That's so you say.
That's probably going to affect what I say because I'm working with him again, actually. He did a great job. No, listen. You know he's good with the teleprompter because of all the Access Hollywood stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But he's also amazing just with on the fly, in the moment. Like he's locked in. He's really good. And I'm a comic, so when I work with actors, I don't expect them to be that good, but he's tremendous. Shout out to him. So, well, let's get into it. According to IMDb, Saved by the Bell is a sitcom about a close-knit group of 6 friends getting through their teens together while attending Bayside High School in Palisades, California. Palisades, California. Is that a real place?
Yeah, it's really pretty.
Because it's Palisades, New Jersey, anyway. The 6 teens consist of mischievous ringleader Zach Morris, played by Mark Paul Gosselaar. Gosselaar. I never said his last name. Nerdy Samuel Screech Powers, played by Dustin Diamond. Jockish Army Brat AC Slater, played by Mario Lopez. Popular girl Kelly Kapowski, played by Tiffany Thiessen. A rich girl Lisa Tuttle, played by Lark Voorhees. And childhood friend Jessie Spano, played by Elizabeth Berkley. The former 5 appeared in every episode of the series, with Berkeley's character of Jesse Spano being the outlier, appearing in 75 of the 86 episodes of the show.
I'm going to make a confession myself. I never watched any part of this.
I've seen it a little bit. I've never watched as much as I don't think I've watched every episode, but I've seen it.
I've watched only like a few episodes when I was 7, and that's it. So I barely remember this show. I think I recently
funny. You were
watched
too
one.
young. I was too old to watch.
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I think I remember is being like, Tiffany's really cute.
I remember
That's
her
about
being
it.
pretty, and
Yeah.
I thought Zach Morris was handsome, and
Yeah.
then Mario Lopez was handsome.
I
too.
wasn't watching for those 2 guys, though, really.
Right.
But Jennifer, this is like your favorite show, right?
Well, it isn't, but it's funny. But it's one of the few where I watch like every episode.
What? Well, that's why we
sounds
have
like
you.
it, yeah.
I mean,
Good thing you're here.
I didn't really. I guess, yeah. I was like, why did Koji ask me?
You're a
to come
subject
on?
matter expert.
I don't
You
know.
know-
I like watched. I don't even know why I was watching
if
it.
you
It must have been
watch-
the time that it was on.
If you watch every episode, you are a subject matter expert.
Yeah, it was
Yes.
like
And I'm like trying to remember. And then I was like, oh, it was only on for a couple years because it felt like it was always on, but it
it
was
came
just
on and on
syndicated.
again. Yeah, and also full disclosure,
I
I
see.
kind of somehow met the producer Peter Engel a few times actually
Really?
because he did some kind of comedy reality show. So I met him there, and then I would run into him a lot. Like,
Were you naked? Or
no. I did like not the Beverly Center, but the other one in Century City,
the bathhouse.
the Century City. No, the mall in Century City.
Westfield?
Yeah. So I would go there to the movies. I think I ran into him there once and someplace else. And I like, hey, Peter, and he kind of remembered me. So yeah, I wouldn't say we're friends or anything, but I've met him a few times as well.
Mm-hmm.
What was it about the show that made you watch it all the time?
Because you could have watched something else, like music videos or.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, I watched plenty of other things. It wasn't like my favorite. Like I said, it wasn't my favorite show. There was other things I watched. But like, I think it just had to do with like the time it was on. It's possible that I was watching it. Some of it was when it was syndicated after it was on air, but those are the years I would have watched it, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, that says something about like why people watched things back then, because it was just linear TV format. So you watched what was on at the time that you were able to watch TV. It was like that was the window.
I was forced to watch it.
And you picked the best thing that was on at that exact time.
I mean, for me, I remember when I watched it, I was all like, this is because I grew up in neighborhoods that were all Asian.
Right.
And I was like, is this what white schools are like? Because I'd never been in a school where like.
Oh, I know.
Where are you from?
I'm from the San Gabriel Valley.
The San Gabriel. Oh,
so, like,
so it's like it's so Asian.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of white people.
No,
I didn't know that about you.
So it was crazy. I was like, oh, is that what they
that
talk about? Is that what they
out
like?
there?
Is
Yeah.
that what they're like? Because I was like, I've never had these interactions.
A lot of drama.
Yeah, it was like weird. I was like, oh wow,
That's
they're
really
like they're very
interesting.
adult-like.
Yeah.
You know, like,
and it's crazy. My high school experience was similar. Like I went to school with all types of people, but in New York, it's like I love the Breakfast Club, but I don't relate to that. Like like jocks and this and that and the losers and the burnouts. Everyone's everything in New York. Like you get on the train, you go to school, you go home.
Yeah.
And like the loser could stab you. Like everyone, no one is to be toyed with. No one is to be messed with. And yeah, no one clicks up like that. A little bit, but like I didn't even have a football team.
I mean, I think the cliques are less now in schools.
Yeah. Okay, good.
I think cliques are less of a thing. I went to a huge school, like one of these where the graduating class is still like 1,200 people.
Oh, wow.
Our graduation was insane. It was like 4 hours long. It was
Jeez.
wild. But yeah, we didn't really have an in-group or anything like that. It was just like a massive amount of people, and it's just like you were friends with whoever you knew. Like if you managed to know people.
Yeah, and
there are people who I went to school with who I meet now. I'm like, we went to school together? Yeah, I never met you.
Wow. Yeah, I went to a small school, but everyone lives in different neighborhoods in Brooklyn.
And kids now, I think you could be in like an anime group and play football.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas well, I don't know when you went to school, Dwayne, but like when I was in school, it was super cliquey.
Yeah, well, I went to a small school, so maybe that's how I got around it. But I like played on the basketball team, but I was also in most of the nerdy classes. I exchanged computer games with guys. So I was all over the place.
I think I was a jock, you guys. I think I was a track and field jock.
Nice.
All my friends were track and field cross country people.
Wow.
That was me.
Nice.
Were you a
You've
tomboy?
betrayed them now.
Kind of a tomboy. Yeah, I would say. I had no fashion sense, and I still barely do.
Well, did you wear makeup or no makeup in high school? That's a good
Mascara.
thing.
That was
it.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Mascara. I wore mostly like running shoes with my pants, and I did not wear skinny jeans till senior year. Like I definitely needed like a she's all that style situation, and I never got it.
Dwayne, did you wear makeup, Dwayne?
I did not wear makeup,
Okay.
no.
And I didn't wear makeup either, so
No.
I guess we're in the same crew. All right. According to Wikipedia, Saved by the Bell was named one of the best school shows of all time by AOL TV. That's where I get all my news from. And has been classified as educational and informational. While most lighthearted, the show touched on subjects like women's rights, drug use, the environment, and remarriage, amongst other issues.
Remember when remarriage was an issue?
Yeah, that used to be an issue, I guess. The show ran from 1989 to 1993. It was a flagship series for the NBC Entertainment Network.
So how could this wholesome and beloved show be suspected as a vessel for satanic messages? A number of eclectic conspiracies, all compiled and linked in a Prezi made by user Megan Irwin, cites them as such.
Can I just say, our sources are getting better and better.
Yeah, last episode was punky.
Right.
What is
And this is a
happening?
Prezi presentation.
This is what college students are saying. This is Gen Z, the voice of Gen Z, you guys.
To be clear, though, I mean, to put a Prezi together, it probably takes more than to like copy an article from somebody.
I got you.
Wait, what's a Prezi?
Online presentations that you could watch, or you could like, they're like PowerPoints basically.
I think we need to have a talk with your interns. All right. The main character, Zach Morris, is accepted into Yale with a, quote, average SAT score of 1,500. Well, this was before, when SATs
1,600 was the
were
main
up
score.
to 1,600, Because Yale is such a strict school, and the fact that one of Yale's secret student societies, Skull and Bones, is suspected of having Illuminati ties, this gave a connection to Saved by the Bell and the Illuminati. What?
That is a leap.
Weak.
Yeah.
That's
Weak. So weak. So weak. This is according to the Wikipedia page for the Skull and Bones Society. Wikipedia, great resource. The group Skull and Bones is featured in books and movies which claim that the society plays a role in a global conspiracy for world control. There have been rumors that Skull and Bones is a branch of the Illuminati, and having been founded by German university alumni following the order's suppression in their native land by Karl Theodor, Elector of Bavaria with the support of Frederick the Great of Prussia, or that the Skull and Bones itself controls the CIA. What? That's a handful.
That's a lot. I don't even know what to make of that.
That's a lot.
I think your intern needs to edit more.
I think people are just bored. Yeah, and have free time on their
Because
hands.
it's kind of like, it's a college thing, and it's like in between keggers, they're also controlling the world. It's just, anyway.
I think people are really overestimating or underestimating how complicated the world is to control. Yeah, wow.
Right.
Mark Paul Gosselaar was involved in a death hoax in 1993 where it was falsely claimed that he died in a car crash. This was connected to the actor Paul Walker, who died in a car crash in 2016, which was, 27 years later, with conspiracies that the two... I'm bad at math. Is that 7? I don't know.
It's 23. Yeah, you're
23 years later. With conspiracies that the two were somehow connected. Oh, yeah, because random car accidents are connected. Inexplicable. 2 car accidents connected. Okay. As Paul Walker was in the aforementioned Skull and Bone Society in his movie The Skulls. You mean in a fictional movie?
No, I believe that was a documentary.
Which depicts the society as dubious and shrouded in deceit and conspiracy, participating in cover-ups and murder. Can I just say, me and Jennifer both have 2 eyes and have both been on this podcast. Therefore, we are the same person. Just going based off of this logic, you could just take anything with 2 things in common, and now they're connected and satanic, apparently.
Dang, that was deep.
It was deep. Okay. The imagery around the show, which included a picture of the main cast with Mark Voorhees making the 666 hand sign where you connect your thumb and pointer finger with the other 3 fingers up. The triangle of manifestation appearing in the background of some shots. Maybe it's just a triangle because those happen. And 3 6s allegedly being hidden on the cover art for the soundtrack. Those 3 6s are the spirals on the soundtrack. 2 in the center, 1 partially cut off by the top of the cover art. I guess what this is saying is that these images suggest the satanic ties. And finally, the theme song. While simple and catchy, it's suspected of having hidden messages. A video by the YouTube channel Lord Belding has the theme song played forwards and backwards. And when played backward, the audio can be heard and interpreted as, "Man, I miss my Satan. We're all saved."
Do you guys want to listen to the song, or do you guys
I absolutely
Let's
want to hear
listen.
it. Yes.
Let's listen to it. Here you go.
Yeah.
I miss my Satan. We're all saved.
Yeah, here's the thing.
That's a stretch.
That's a stretch.
I do kind of hear it.
Yeah, I,
I hear it, but
everything she said now.
but 2 things. They always talk about this, but does your brain hear a song backwards?
I do.
You do?
Yeah, I'm Asian. Everything's, we could hear backward and forward.
Do you read left or right? I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, because in Asian we read right to left, backwards, and up and down.
I don't think my brain. 2 things. 2
Like,
things.
is it
I don't
processing
think my
something
brain doesn't
backwards?
process
Right.
a song backwards. But 2, I'm
But
just
it's
convinced
subliminal.
every song backwards is mentioned Satan. Like,
Oh, I mean, there's a lot of Led Zeppelin songs that have that in
Yeah.
there. But here's the thing: if it was in theory worshiping Satan, like with this specific song, that doesn't make any of the rest of it valid. Like the car crash is still a really shitty connection, and the Skull and Bone Society for a fake character, like that part, also not at all relevant or
well, I think
indicative
that
of anything.
the real interesting fact is I didn't know, in my slight research I didn't know this was a spinoff. The show's a spinoff of another show, so like
I Love Lucy.
Oh,
no,
I
like
saw
Good
something
Night
about
Miss
that.
Bliss or something.
Yeah.
And so I like the theory that this was all a dream.
Oh,
that
yeah, I've
Zach
heard about that,
had.
yeah.
Because in the show before this show, Zach was in middle school and he was not popular. He was kind of a nerd and he lived in Indiana. So then I guess they retooled it or they kept that character, but now he's in Cali and he's super famous. So the theory is that this was all a dream that character had. but he's still this loser in Indiana.
Oh.
And there's also one
still-
that Mr. Belding killed someone and he moved to California and he
Wait,
moved
what
3
is
of the
this theory?
students.
Just something that.
Because this is a spinoff, but it's a
Right,
it's a kind of a
right.
spinoff. Some 2 or 3 of the characters are from this other show, but that show was set in Indiana, and they didn't explain it. They just were in California.
Going back to the Satan thing, I mean, it was
Yes.
actually funny, Kat, that you were saying that you actually heard it because I was when you watch the video, they're saying it like they have it on the screen. So I was like, am I hearing it or am I just reading it and then hearing it? But the fact
No,
that
I kind of heard it.
the fact
too.
that you kind of heard it made me like, oh, I guess
It's not just you.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, psychological priming works that
Yeah,
way.
right.
Like people can be tricked into doing things, they can be hypnotized.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever
Right.
gone to a hypnotism show?
Yeah.
Like at
Yeah,
a
yeah.
comedy thing? Like I feel like
Absolutely.
as comedians we see hypnotists all
Absolutely.
the time. It is very like mind bending what hypnotists can make
we
you
should
see.
have played it first and then
Then talked
blindly
about it,
said,
yeah.
what did
Would you guys? I have a test. I pulled this up, and this is off script. I'm curious if do you guys know what it says in one of the Led Zeppelin songs when it plays backwards? "Stairway to Heaven."
No, what is it?
Okay, so if you've never heard it, it does have some satanic lyrics supposedly. I'm gonna play it, and you tell me if you hear any words, because this is a real experiment. Because you guys don't have the words in front of you. Ready? I'm gonna play it.
Oh my god.
Satan.
Yeah.
But what about Satan?
Is it enough that he says Satan?
I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry right now. I'm tripping. I'm so scared. That's clear as day.
That right?
Well, and that's weird because the song is called Stairway to Heaven. So that's
Exactly.
But played backwards,
Well-
it's a stairway to hell.
yeah,
Or
exactly.
Saved by the Bell is also religious. Saved by the Bell.
Oh
right?
my
Saved
god.
by
Yeah.
the Bell.
What
Oh, that's yeah. But could you hear any of the other lyrics besides Satan?
No.
You couldn't make out any other words.
No.
No.
And here's the thing: you were primed to listen for the word Satan,
Satan.
so you listened to the words for the word Satan,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you knew it was going to say something about Satan because I told you it was going to say something about
Mm.
Satan.
I'm changing my answer, by the way, my theory here. Slowly
Interesting.
percolating.
Interesting.
And so that's an example, you guys, of like priming. Of
Yes.
course, they heard the word Satan, but there's a whole other bunch of words you can. Oops, that started playing on its
Yeah.
by itself.
I don't even want to know what it says. I just want to.
But there you go. So if you guys want to look up what the actual backwards lyrics are, but try listening to it backwards without looking at what the lyrics are. Like cover it up
Yeah.
on the
Right,
YouTube
right,
screen
right.
in here and see if you can make out anything because we can't.
Yeah, I never listened to Hotel California.
Backwards?
I don't listen to it. Period. Like I've heard it.
Wait, what? Why?
It's just this, it's like you're dead. You're in this hotel. I'm good. You know what I mean?
It's too creepy
You
of a
can't
song.
check out. You check in. You can't check out. So it's
It's
like,
supposed to be about heroin.
oh, I see. But it seems to me about like some sort of limbo situation. So like,
It creeps
listen,
you out.
if you go like a day without talking to anyone, and that happens sometimes, right? Like by the end of the day, you're like, am I still alive? So you have to call someone to make sure they can hear you, and you're like, okay, I'm alive. I'm not just some ghost walking around.
Wait, you do this for real?
This
Yeah,
is something
yeah.
comedians experience because we
Really?
travel so much.
Oh.
I feel like that's the only reason I know exactly what you're referring to.
I just have to talk to someone like, you can hear me, right? And then because one day I'm going to call someone and they're like, hello?
This is like a good
Stop
like a
playing.
good
Who is
TV
this?
show. We should make a TV show out of this.
Yeah, yeah.
Where every day they call and then one day they don't.
You know, there's a movie about this. It's called The Sixth Sense.
Oh yeah.
And by the way, Defending Your Life is a movie about past lives and
Yeah.
limbo. It's a really good movie. So.
Yeah, I like that movie.
Well, I guess we'll go on. The most damning piece of evidence regarding conspiracy and hidden depravity in Saved by the Bell environment came from a memoir written in 2009 by cast member Dustin Diamond, aka Screech Powers. In the book, Diamond has many different claims. The claims listed in a Ranker article by Ann Casano. These sources are just
Ranker,
range
yeah.
from Diamond saying he slept with over 2,000 women while on the show. The other actors slept around with each other and engaged in crazy threesomes, and that Mark Paul Gosselaar took steroids. That were just some of the many outlandish claims by Diamond. The other cast members refuted Diamond's claims, and this book alienated him from the rest of his castmates. Like, I'm the type of person, like, I don't, I believe in what makes most sense.
I am closing this laptop.
Right. I believe in what makes the most sense, but I also believe anything is possible, right? But if you believe anything is possible, you also have to believe that
nothing is possible.
The author could have lied, because according to Diamond, he just told this guy some stories, and the guy the ghostwriter just went and made all of this up, and you're thinking, well, could that happen? But then, in the sports world, you hear all the time about journalists will make up stuff, or they'll like embellish to a point where it's basically lying.
Yeah.
So yeah, this guy could have wanted to sell some book and said, like, maybe he told him something on a level that was like a 5. This one flirted with that one, and then what he wrote was like a 9. You know what I mean?
I see.
And because I also read that Peter Engel, which is interesting, he converted to Christianity. He kept the set really PC, like he ran a real tight ship. So all this didn't happen kind of on his watch, if any of it did happen. And that means it wasn't an environment primed for that, right? Like he kept everything really, running smoothly. So I think it's possible that the ghostwriter took like a lot of liberties.
Because these people were really young too, and even as someone like. We're in the year 2023 right now. People are pretty sexually open, sex positive in the culture now. And even so, as an adult, you don't run into a lot of adults who are running around engaging in orgies just here and there all around the square.
You don't. But also, I think...
Only if I hang out with my Burning Man peeps.
People are more...
But it's very specific, right? It's like a certain kind of people who do that, not just your everyday person.
But I think
it's still rare.
Younger people now are they're more exhibitionist, but they're less sexually experienced.
Yeah.
Whereas like 20 years ago or 30 years ago, people were really...
Yeah. Actually, so in every generation...
It switches.
It's actually it's gone. They've had less sex since the baby boomers have had more sex than anybody, and it's gotten less and less and less.
It keeps declining.
Yeah, like I was talking to my cousin, and she went to Stanford in the '80s, and she talked about like before you had sex with people, you had to get an AIDS test because it was like so common that those were things that you had to do, and it was like so common, and like people would just like they hooked up a lot. I hear. I was just talking to a director who was saying there was on a line item of every movie there was a cocaine budget because they would just do cocaine like at the craft services table. Everyone would do it.
I heard that. That's crazy.
And so,
that is wild.
And so like it's crazy because every generation they've done less drugs.
Right.
Abortion's gone like there's been less abortions than like every generation. Well,
especially now. I'm just like,
but it's been crazy. I mean, like, well, it's not a coincidence that the generation that had so much sex and so much unwanted pregnancy was the one that started the abortion thing. And now that they're like not doing it as much, now they're wanting abortion again, even though they were the ones that were hooking up. If you look at every drug program, it was all started by that same generation.
Right.
Because they were the ones
They're all trying to get off drugs. They're all trying to stop having sex.
Yeah. Like it's funny. Anyway.
But point is that these claims seem kind of ridiculous. Just like Dwayne said, Dustin Diamond did refute it. He appeared on Oprah to actually say it. So this is confirming everything you just said, that the book was ghostwritten by an author who interviewed him and then, fabricated things from very minor statements and interviews. And then he appeared on Dr. Oz, and not only did he back up his previous refutation of the book, he cited the ghostwriter and then followed it up by saying that he was taken advantage of in that interview and concluded with an apology to all his classmates. The apology said, I think you're fantastic. Working with you has been one of the icons of my life, and I'm sorry this has taken advantage of me. The book and other situations I'm sure we'll talk about, but I'm sure you've experienced downfalls as well in your time, and I'm still loving you guys.
Very nice. Very nice.
So what does ChatGPT think? Was Saved by the Bell a vehicle for the Illuminati?
No. There is no credible evidence to suggest that the TV show Saved by the Bell was a vehicle for the Illuminati. The Illuminati is a conspiracy theory that alleges the existence of a secret society that supposedly controls world events and manipulates governments and institutions. However, there is no verifiable proof that the Illuminati exists or that it uses popular media as a means of conveying hidden messages or agendas. Saved by the Bell was a popular sitcom that aired in the late 1980s and early 1990s, focusing on the lives of a group of high school students. It was primarily created as a lighthearted comedy series and not as a tool for any hidden conspiracy. It's important to critically evaluate conspiracy theories and seek reliable sources of information before accepting them as true.
What do you guys think? Is Saved by the Bell an elaborate ploy by the Illuminati to brainwash us? When we return, we'll put our hopefully unpossessed heads together and figure out the truth. I wasn't sure I was reading that right. There you go.
Right.
All right, now that we've discussed the facts, let's give our theories.
Well, I'm thinking something like this. I don't love talking about this stuff only because I'm
You're best friends with
no.
Lopez now.
I was raised by my grandmother, and she used to always say things like, speak of the devil and he appears. You know what I mean? So I don't like conjuring this stuff up, But I'm not like fearful because I believe in God. God's got my back. But I think there's something, it comes up so much just in general that there's something to it. I think a lot of it is whoever is the quote unquote Illuminati, it's them sort of throwing a bunch of smoke screens out. So you never, they always confuse you. It's like how the FBI will they always plant someone in your organization. But I think by the time these kids were hired and everything, could someone be grooming them? Maybe, but I don't think it's director. I don't think it's producer. I think any organization, you can have some nefarious person trying to sort of like nudge his or her way in. So I think that the show had nothing to do with the Illuminati, but I do think I think two people were kind of Illuminati. Either they were very low on the totem pole trying to get in, and they were trying to inflict their influence, but it didn't work. I think it was the editor and the graphic designer.
They're just like goth people who are trying to blend in.
And I think they were very low on the totem pole, so they really couldn't affect anything. But every now and then they snuck in something, be it graphics or be it some sort of editing thing. And so the remnants of that gave this whole story fuel. And they did such a bad job that they were kicked out or never let in, as it were. Or maybe they got in on their next job. So my theory is that the show had nothing to do with the Illuminati, except there was a rogue graphic designer and a rogue editor who tried to sneak some of that.
And that's why
imagery
people
in.
get the vibe, like, oh no,
Right,
it's Illuminati,
right.
yes, because there was a little of it there.
Yeah,
I get that theory. And you know how like sometimes people who like are like not religious like to troll religious people, so they'll like throw stuff out there just to fuck with people who are scared of Satan, and then they're like, oh my god, Hello Kitty is satanic, but it's not. It's just fine.
Oh, wait.
Right.
We're doing an episode in a couple episodes.
Oh, nice.
We don't know if she's satanic or not.
Well, it's like
Okay, we'll leave that.
it's like the book Fountainhead. There's this.
That's a terrible book. Why do you keep quoting that friggin' book?
No, I don't love the book.
Okay.
I liked it. Well, what I don't like about it is that she takes all these pages to kind of disprove God, but she kind of proves God, but she calls it goodness, whatever. But I have issues with the book, and it's like a Republican sort of. But
Right.
I don't think it's a Republican book per se. But one thing that happens in the book is I think it's Gail Wyman, the head of the newspaper. He notices that he runs the newspaper. It's his newspaper, but he's so astute that he reads a few articles and he sees there's this phraseology that keeps popping up. So he knows someone on my staff is trying to sort of like inception the world, sort of like get this message out. And that's what happens, right? Like he's the head of the newspaper. It's not that he chose to do it, but if one writer just keeps talking about something.
So there's like one satanic editor.
Right. Or just
/ graphic designer.
Anything you want to push.
They're a couple. We'll make them a couple.
Yeah, you can push at your level of influence. You can push. No one's really reviewing it. They're like, okay, fine, that's good. Go with it. You know what I mean? So
all right, that's
so
your theory.
When I was a kid and I watched The Exorcist, I remember I couldn't understand why it was scary because my family is not Judeo-Christian.
Right.
And I was like, I don't believe in the devil, so
maybe because she was throwing up and her head was spinning.
I don't believe. I was like, but because I didn't believe in the devil, and I don't believe in possession.
Right.
And so I was like, it's not scary because it's not real.
I see.
And so I was thinking maybe that's why I'm not into Saved by the Bell, but that's not my theory. I was just kind of wondering if it is satanic, then maybe that's why I'm not into the show. Maybe that says something about Jennifer over here, right? But we won't say anything. Okay, so here's my theory.
Okay.
It's not the Illuminati because like when you like NBA trades, when you hear an NBA trade, they're talking about these crazy things. It's a trade. It's always the trade. Like there's another trade that you don't see coming.
Okay.
There's like another player. It's another situation. Another team
right.
that comes in and makes
a
the
bit of a
trade.
smoke screen kind of.
Yeah, exactly. So like it's not the Illuminati. It's another group. But there has been another group, and it started a long time ago. It started with pamphlets, and then it became books.
Okay.
And then it became the radio, and then it became
Self-help?
TV. No, and then it became the internet. There's a group of people,
Yes.
powerful human beings, probably male, who want to make us less intelligent.
Oh.
Like through mass media, and as it's gone on, as technology's gotten better, they have a better chance at doing it now. Because at the beginning it was like pamphlets, and they're trying to pass it out, and it was like not really working. There's no
Is it the
printing press.
communists, aka China? It's the Chinese.
It could be
They're trying to
early
make us
AI.
dumb. I
Could be
know.
early-
It could be early AI.
Oh, I like
Yeah,
early
yeah.
AI. Thank you.
Okay.
That's my-
Time is a flat circle. AI.
early AI was trying to enslave the human race through mass
Right,
media.
right.
And Saved by the Bell was an attempt along in the 90s that didn't work. But then,
Basically, it's a show for dumb people.
MTV,
Right.
MTV was one, like VH1 was
Uh-huh.
another, reality TV. Now it's like Newsmax and
Uh-huh.
whatever other places, Punky articles and Ranker and Prezi articles and stuff like that. But yeah, so that's my theory, that there is a nefarious group of individuals who use
Okay.
mass media to make us dumb.
To make us dumb to what end, though?
To control us.
But not the Illuminati.
No, because the Illuminati is like a convenient boogeyman, like the communists or
Right,
or things like that. But in reality, it's like a powerful group and probably multicultural. They're probably
It's almost like every superhero movie. There's this dark legion of people you never heard of. They're behind the scenes, even behind the
behind the gun.
yeah, behind. Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay. I think we're all on board that it's not the Illuminati here, because I am also going to say it's not the Illuminati. And here's why. It's because I grew up pretty Christian, like Pentecostal Christian, and if there's one, I know about Satan. All right, you guys, I know all about him, and I know where he shows up, right? And it's not on Saved by the Bell album covers.
Right.
He shows up in a Ouija board pretending to be your grandma. So don't play with Ouija boards, because even if it's somebody who you think you know talking to you on the other side of that Ouija board, it's not. It's a demon. Don't play with a Ouija board. Burn it.
Wait,
Burn
are
it
you for
now.
real? Do
Yeah.
you really believe that?
I do. I will not touch a Ouija board. I will not get a tarot card reading. Like, my mom, she put the fear of God in me. We do not go to psychics.
I'm with you. I won't even get a wedgie. You know what I mean? I know that's different,
No, but for real, according to the beliefs that my family has, when you play with anything paranormal, sometimes it can seem benevolent, but Satan comes through like benevolent paranormal doors. So
I believe in that.
Side story: one of the stories about a young girl getting being possessed is that she was like lonely. She didn't have friends, and she heard a voice in like the air vent. And it was like a young man who sounded handsome, and they became friends. But it's because she was like dabbling in like the
Ouija, tarot
Ouija
stuff.
and all that stuff. And then she was open up, and then all of a sudden
You
she's
open up a window.
she's hearing
Mhm.
a voice through who was really nice, and then she became friends, and then she got possessed. So
Yeah, so
Don't do
there you
that.
go. Don't do that.
Don't talk to the air vents.
Ew.
No, listen.
There
I have
was.
a friend who I think is possessed, only because
What?
no, he wasn't possessed when I met him, and then I saw him again, and I was like, whoa. And then like I have a friend who's kind of an expert on this, and she was telling me some of the signs. I was like, yeah,
Sounds
yeah,
like my
yeah.
ex.
And
Fascinating.
and like he's a good friend, and I don't punch people, but I've had the inclination to punch him a few times just to sort of get him out of it. But I'm always afraid that it's going to jump on me.
Oh.
I'm like in that moment I'd be at my weakest.
We got to be careful with
emotionally.
exorcisms, because according to the Bible, if you do an exorcism, the bad spirit jumps into the closest living person who's not
And
saved or whatever.
My neighbor's also possessed.
That's
and
the
I'm
lore.
afraid of what's going to happen when she passes away. No, she is. She's 100%. You know why? I see her walk across the courtyard, and you can't see her feet. She wears like long nightgowns. And
She's
she
not
looks-
possessed. She's a
She's
ghost.
And she looks like she's floating.
Your neighbor is dead.
and she could barely walk. She could barely walk up the stairs, and then she knocks on your door like it's the feds. And you don't even know where she's getting the strength from. It's like, don't. You're like, and I'm like, oh shit, it's the feds. I don't have guns. I don't have drugs. But every time she knocks, I'm like, it's the feds. And then I open the door, and it's her, and I'm like, how the fuck did you knock that hard? You know what I mean? And she's like,
Like she can barely get to the mailbox, but she almost.
yeah. And then she's like, your sink is leaking, and I'm like, I don't even use my sink. And then she just extorts me for like $40 every few months, and I gotta pay some plumber dude. I don't know.
Wow. Definitely could be possessed.
She could be possessed, maybe, sure.
Okay, so
But point being, if Satan wants to get you, he can get you without going through a TV show way more directly, and usually will pretend to be something. Oh, I have a crazy story. Okay. So there's some more like Christian-y lore is like images. You're not really supposed to have images of Jesus or saints or those types of things. Like those are not good to have. Catholics have them,
Catholics
but we
do
were
it.
not Catholic.
oh god.
Mhm.
Okay.
So we did have this one weird picture of Jesus, and like it always creeped me out. Like it felt like the eyes were following me, which,
Mona Lisa does that.
it's like the picture, it's because it's not holy, it's not good to have a picture. And it's a thing in for Jewish people too, I believe. They're not supposed to have
You're not
pictures
supposed to
of
draw.
God. Yeah. So
They won't even say God's name.
they won't. They put a little dash for the O.
Uh-huh.
So the picture was in there, and it was just giving me this weird feeling, like it felt like it was watching me, and it felt so creeped out sleeping in this room. And then that night, I swear to God, the bed shook, like the mattress. I felt the mattress shake against the bed. It wasn't an earthquake. My bed just moved. And I freaked out. I got up, I took the picture, and I like hid it deep in the closet, and I put like clothes on top of it. I was like, this thing will not watch me. And then I never felt creeped out again. So I don't know. That's like a dumb story, but
No, that's crazy. If your bed
pivotal.
actually moved.
My bed actually moved.
That's
I
really
swear it
weird.
did.
So you're saying if we want to get possessed, we should get a picture of Jesus and put it in our...
Ironically, yes. That is one way to do it. But the point is, like, Satan is a deceiver. He's not going to go through a stupid TV show with sixes if he can just get you regular style.
Let me play devil's advocate. Sorry.
Okay, sure.
That's
Interesting. Devil's advocate.
Yeah, exactly.
Go ahead.
Somebody got it. I did. Okay. No, but like, I mean, the thing about this show was that it showed like a world to people that like it was very like something that people could want, right?
Right.
Oh, there's these pretty girls.
Okay.
There's,
That's
like,
about advertising and selling.
but it's
That's
also
everywhere.
like, but it's
Like
also
aspirational.
It's aspirational. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. Where like so like if
It'll make you unhappy with your life.
and you want more and you want things and you want like possession.
Are you Buddhist? Is that?
No, I'm not
Okay.
Buddhist.
Sorry for asking.
No, it's okay. No, that's racist. No, I'm just kidding. No, but like if I'm the devil and I want to get people like into
Being
into,
unhappy with their life and
and
selling
being
their
and
soul.
going to Satan, yeah, like it's kind of like that's what like not to like it's like the Kardashians are
Maybe.
the same way, right?
Like
you
it
want-
starts with comparison.
Oh.
And comparison is the theft of happiness. So if you can start people comparing themselves to other things that are not reasonable, then they go down this path of never having contentment, right?
Never being happy.
Yeah.
Ooh, interesting.
So
That
maybe
is one way
it's-
to think of it.
yeah.
But then
But that's
all
all TV
of
too. All
entertainment,
TV, yeah.
Instagram is
Everything,
there,
yeah.
therefore potentially
Right,
satanic. Also,
right.
The
just
Kardashians.
ambition in general becomes satanic. Like just having any aspirations for yourself at all, is that bad? Where do we draw the line?
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
So I don't buy that.
My theory is that there isn't actually an Illuminati, but there is a group of like elitists, like people that have,
Sounds familiar.
the 1%, and they try to like, I'll talk about this later, but they maybe try to like play into the fact, like if they're trying to recruit people or like trying to exercise influence, like in terms of younger people, like trying to get people to, I don't know, do their bidding or to get people to be their minions, that they kind of play into that Illuminati thing possibly, but there is no official Illuminati. So there is a group of elitists that know that people think there's an Illuminati, but there isn't. But they are acting like it. And so therefore, yes, because they are the 1% and because they're like in places of power, they can brainwash and put like themes into shows if they want. So if Saved by the Bell was about like, don't be promiscuous, don't use drugs, be, when you do something wrong, tell, there's got to be a moral to the story, right? So I feel like there are people in power like the Harvey Weinsteins and the, I don't know, the Clintons.
Maybe the Reagans. Who knows? They could be Republican.
Bushes.
Yeah, anybody, yeah. And they can influence the entertainment that we consume. So
right.
it's possible
Well,
that...
it's funny you say that because there was a movie, was it called like The Storks or something? And it came out like, let's
I
say
kind of remember
5-6
it.
years ago.
Yeah.
It was really cute. And I watched it. And at the end, I was like, why do I want to have a baby now?
Uh-huh.
And I'm watching the credits. and one of the executive producers of this movie was someone from Trump's cabinet. I forget his name.
Interesting.
Yeah. Mnuchin?
See? A powerful person. Yeah.
When we talk about influence, the only thing is that it's a slippery slope because we got to talk both ways, right? Like we got to say, if something influenced you to have a baby per se, can something influence you to,
Yeah, do something...
or double check your orientation or something? Like, I'm not saying it can, but
right.
if once you say one thing, you open it up for everything. It's like if you lie on the court. If you lie, they throw out your whole testimony, right? So you just can't have it both ways. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying... I'm just saying I like that theory, but I guess the question is, what are they trying to influence us to do, or other than be dumb or buy things? Does it go even farther?
And I would
than
add that there are so many different influencer people with a lot of money and power that there can be competing influences. So, like
right,
we
that's
have
true.
the Storks one here, but then there's movies where it's like about a woman being single and thrilled with her empowerment.
Right,
and she
So
doesn't
then I'd
have
have
kids.
to decide. Yeah, I'd have to decide what are those themes. What is it that they want to influence?
And you're going
us,
to watch
yeah.
competing messages.
Right.
You're going to watch two movies
Right.
and
But not
decide
every-
on your own what you want.
Right.
When I teach writing, everyone knows like emotional conflict, physical conflict, and intellectual conflict. So emotional conflict is like the things that are keeping you from being able to ditch it all and leave. Intellectual is like that bad person who's actively working against you. Physical conflict is like the rock that's about to fall on top of you, right? But the conflict.
Wait, intellectual conflict is when you're like, no, I know better.
No,
than
there's
this.
a bad person who's keeping you from achieving your goal.
An actual person.
Yeah, the antagonist.
Oh,
But
okay.
the one conflict that is the most important conflict in writing is the value conflict. Your main character believes one thing. Your antagonist believes the other thing.
Oh.
And in the climax, their two things are clashing. That's the climax. And the resolution is the writer's theory on that value.
You know what's a
conflict.
great movie that
Right,
shows that
right,
so well is Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
I just rewatched it for a second time last night with my boyfriend. And I love the illustration because your main character starts out like she's an unhappy mom who resents her kid and her husband. And at the end, without any spoilers, but she, grows
Sausage fingers. No, I'm sorry,
to
right.
she develops sausage fingers and runs away with Jamie Lee Curtis. No, she realizes she appreciates her husband and her daughter and that she loves them and wouldn't live life without
So
them.
a good written movie would have the value conflict. And so
Right,
like
right.
I
so like
see.
to argue like so your
That's
argument is
cool.
true in that like every story should have some kind of value, because then if it's devoid of that value conflict, then the story lacks
It
meaning.
lacks soul. It's
Yeah, it
just
lacks
a
meaning,
bunch of
right?
and honestly, if you watch Everything Everywhere All at Once, about 2/3 of the movie, it doesn't really have as much of that going on very prevalently. That it's not heavy into the values conflict until the third act. But until then, it's just a lot of kung fu, and I didn't get it. I was just like, I don't get. Like, this is thrilling, but I don't get. And then that third act came where they were really hit the values hard, and all of a sudden I was like sobbing watching the film because it touched a part of me because
Yeah.
she's like looking at like the alternative parallel life where she was like female Jackie Chan, like, oh my God, I could have been famous, but then realized she doesn't have her kids and family in that alternative world. Okay, we're at that point in the show where we need to pick the unofficial official story, the one that will once and for all answer the question. So what do you guys think? Which theory do we want to go with? Do you want to summarize?
Yeah, I need to summarize. So I'm trying to remember.
There's a lot.
So
I said the show was not officially related to the Illuminati, but there was maybe an editor or two or a graphic designer who had some aspirational Illuminati ties or whatever.
Okay. My theory is that Satan can get you much more easily than through a show. So it's not through a show. And that if there are sixes and stuff, it's just all in people's heads. It's all suggestion.
And mine was that they're a group of people who are making people stupid through mass media.
which is actually almost kind of
Yours
mine in a way.
It's not Illuminati, it's another group.
Right.
Yours is that
Right.
there was a group of people who are using
The media
Entertainment and media.
to like send
messages.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but mine was specific about making people dumber. Yours
Yeah.
is like any message based on like
Whatever
Because
their
they're
agenda
powerful.
is.
Right.
Yeah.
But did they use Saved by the Bell as well, you think?
At that time, they used Saved by the Bell. Maybe they used other ones,
Yeah,
but
I see,
this
I
one
see.
for some reason has gotten wind. Okay, so what's my favorite theory? Okay. Wait,
I would say that ours is really close. So
Yeah, ours is kinda similar.
I would say we could combine ours and make it like 2 votes right there.
yeah. Okay.
Well, she may not vote for hers. You may not vote
Okay.
for yours.
What if she votes for one of ours?
Right.
Well, I'm just saying that great minds think alike.
Right.
So
I know. I do kind of like ours.
yeah, I agree.
I do. Yes, we
Wow.
could combine it.
Yes.
So there's some kind of organization, Illuminati or something, and I agree. Most of the world is dumb. Most people
Yeah.
are dumb,
Right.
so
So-
it's working.
So it's not Illuminati, but it was some other organization.
No,
Okay,
Another
okay.
nefarious
So
group.
there's
Okay,
2 votes for that.
I'm going with mine, that it was a rogue editor and graphic designer.
And I'm going to
Which is
team up
creative.
with Dwayne and say that it was a rogue editor.
Okay.
We keep having the ties.
It's kind of fun
2-2.
though. That's kind of fun and it makes sense. So I don't know.
Plus, I got to see Mario again in a few days. yeah.
Oh my gosh.
There you go.
Should we say it's both?
It's both?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess we could say it was both.
Okay.
There
But
may
let-
be groups that are trying to influence people,
Let's
but
say
And there is a rogue.
it was
a
both.
rogue-
It was both. But here's the thing: on Saved by the Bell, it was a rogue editor and
Specifically.
graphic designer.
Yeah.
Then Saved by the Bell, the after years, whatever that was called, when they went to college or something.
The college.
That was when this
That's
other
you
group.
guys.
Okay, very good.
Yes.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Oh, like split custody of the theory.
What was when they did? Okay.
Okay.
What was it? What was this? The
I didn't even watch the first one. I didn't even know there's a
Oh
second
my
one.
god. The second one only had Screech and Belding, right?
yeah.
Nobody else wanted to come back.
Wanted to come back.
And that's the official story. We'll take another break, and when we return, we'll have fun pretending we're in our own 90s sitcom. Woo.
Okay.
The 90s was a golden era for sitcoms, as was the 80s. Saved by the Bell, Friends, Seinfeld, sure. The Illuminati may or may not have been burrowing into our brains with each laugh track, but it's undeniable that sitcoms were a major part of 90s network TV. If the Illuminati offered you funds to make your own 90s style sitcom, what would you make yours about? How would you hypothesize?
Hypnotize.
I'm sorry. Hypnotize. I was like, how would you hypnotize the masses while ensuring they liked your show?
Who wants to go first?
Oh, man. Well, the thing is, I have so many pilots that I could actually just pitch right here.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
So,
But 90s sitcoms are very specific.
well, here's the thing. One of my favorite sitcoms, I have many. Seinfeld is right up there, right? Then All in the Family. There's so many. Ted Lasso has really
Love
leaped
that
into
one.
it, leaped into the top 10 for me. It's amazing. You know, Psych, which I don't know if that's a
Love
sitcom.
Psych.
but
That one's one of my
yeah,
favorites
I
growing
love
up.
Psych.
Mhm.
But I think that one of my favorites is Newhart, right? He had two shows. He had one when he was a psychiatrist, and then another one where he ran a bed and breakfast in Vermont. And what's great about that is that at the end of the second one, he was sleeping. The whole second series, he was sleeping, and he was still in the first one. That was a great little TV moment. So at the very end of the second Bob Newhart show, he woke up, and his first wife from the first show was in bed with him. And he was like, "You won't believe this. I had a dream I ran a bed and breakfast in Vermont." That was dope, right?
That was the whole season? And
That
it's-
was like
it was as if
that
he
was at the
sleeping?
end of the show. Yeah, like it was like 4 or 5
Oh.
seasons, and at the end
He was like,
played
oh,
it
it was
like
all just a dream.
it was
or
all
whatever.
a dream. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So I think I'm just gonna pitch something I've actually written,
Okay.
which is like the Black Bob Newhart, but the first one where I'm people like telling me things. I think I'm very sort of non-judgmental seeming. I seem like I'm non-judgmental, but pro tip, I am judgmental. So. But yeah, I think something where you can. I always like that. So basically, a sitcom where I have a life, I'm dating, I'm doing this thing, but I also see clients, and then they can tell me all their problems, which are the problems that America has. So that's how you get America locked in. You like it's like free therapy for everyone watching because they're going to relate to somebody you're
One
giving
of the patients.
these little
Mhm.
therapy sessions to. Then the question becomes: do you give good advice or like bad advice? But I think you give good advice. I think I'd give good advice. I don't know. I don't think the Illuminati would want to use me because I would be telling people to, be more self-sufficient and things like that. So, but if I couldn't get it on air, I'd have to give people kind of bad advice. Like, you know what I think you need to go shopping. That kind of thing. But it's a funny sitcom where I help people and I, as it were, help lead them down a certain way, but I would hopefully be able to really help them.
I have two. Okay. The
Yes.
first one is an after-school series for kids, right? That's the first one that popped in my head. It's a little bit like Veronica Mars, where she's like crime fighting, but she has a dog. It's a little Italian greyhound named Leo. This is basically about me and that I wish I was fighting crime.
Very nice.
But they solve crimes together, and yeah, he's like Air Bud, right? Where
Does
he's
he
like
talk?
very capable. No.
Okay.
Because this is a kid's show, and I don't want to teach kids that dogs talk because they don't.
They
but
do.
They do.
Yeah.
With their ears. Actually, my dog tells me things with his ears. Like if they're crossed, that means he's mad and maybe he needs to poop or maybe he's hungry.
I like this.
Mine's a husky, so she.
But
talks.
in this
She's like,
show,
"Woo, woo,
does she
woo,
have to
all
like
the
deal
time.
with bad guys, or she's just figuring out who like crimes?
It's a whodunit, but then maybe she does. Maybe Leo takes him down.
Oh, I
If
like
you want to
that.
follow
I like
Leo,
that.
you can follow him at Cats Iggy Leo on Instagram. He's very cute. But no, my sitcom, I would just do the inverse of Seinfeld, kind of, where it's a female stand-up comedian and her friends.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's
in
a good
Los
one.
Angeles.
That's a good one.
Sure.
In LA, yeah. I like
That's
that.
it. It's very simple. What is it? It's a show about nothing
In LA.
Best.
in LA.
If I went back to the 90s and I was able to do a TV show, I would do 90210 except in San Marino, California with all Asian people. That would be like,
Nice,
because that's like what I grew up in San Marino.
What's the discount code? I mean, what's the zip code?
91108.
91108. That's the show.
Because actually, San Marino is more wealthy than Beverly Hills in general.
Interesting.
But it's all Asian people. And so it's just a different, I mean, when I went to school there, it was very different, you know. It was very interesting to kind of see like everything American, but through Asian American eyes and experience.
That's actually a pretty good show that could happen now, you know?
Yeah. But the one I want to do, the one I would do now is I coach a lot of baseball, as you guys know. And so, I mean, youth baseball is just like, is the craziest thing. Youth sports is like this multi-billion-dollar thing.
And you call it the Good News Bears.
And yeah, so just kind of the craziness, all the crazy stories I could share about youth sports and, you know, all those crazy things. That's what
That would be like Malcolm in the Middle.
Kind of, yeah.
But
except more
with
focused.
more sports.
Yeah, more
focus.
sportsy, yeah.
I like that. I like that.
And you could be the Bryan
Asians.
Cranston character running around in underwear. But Asians are more dignified than that, I
Yes,
feel.
we would. Yeah. All right, Jennifer, what
Mine's
is yours?
kind of like yours, but like a little bit more gangster. So me and Koji are in the same vibe. So when I saw that question, I thought I would want like a sitcom that would be like Higher Learning. Remember that movie?
Asian?
Yeah, so it could be, doesn't have to be Asian, but
With
like
Michael
not as
Rappaport,
white.
right?
Higher Learning by John
Yeah.
Singleton.
Yeah, Michael
meets-
Rappaport was in that. Yeah, yeah.
Huh? Who was in
Michael
it?
Rappaport, right?
Oh, I think
Yeah,
he
yeah.
was. Yeah, he played
Remy.
like a skinhead
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something. Okay, so kind of like Higher Learning. I was kind of thinking Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but flipped. So instead, more like what is it like to be like the minority whites in like a neighborhood, you know, in the hood.
Okay.
So that's what I always wanted.
But the
because-
hood is San Marino and everyone's Asian.
There we go. Me and Koji.
Or it could
can
be the
combine.
Bay. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it could have been. I was thinking the Bay, so that's why I was thinking like Higher Learning. Because when I watched that movie, just like you were saying, when you watch, did you say you watched this show and you're like, that's not like my school?
Yeah.
So I don't know why when I watched this, I wasn't thinking that when I watched Saved by the Bell for some reason. Because yeah, it was, it spoke to me. The Illuminati did so good. I was just like amazed and not analyzing it. But I remember going to see Clueless in the theaters and thinking, this is nothing like my life. I don't understand this. Why are there so many white people? Right? Because I grew up in an area just like Koji where everyone was Asian or Latin, right? So it was like Vietnamese, Filipino, Indian, like South Asian, Indian, and Latin, like Mexican. So as a half Asian, I was embarrassed that I was white. And the white people were not cool. And it was very cliquey. And so that whole thing about like, I was Asian and I was bullied and I was the only Asian kid in school is like, no, I had a totally different experience. So I would want a sitcom like that. So kind of showing what it's like to grow up, like the hoods, like where white.
I like that show. And if it's the late 90s, depending on, is it high school? You said junior high school or high school?
For my show?
Yes. Only because it depends on if it's 90s, but if you push it a little bit ahead, you can have like a young Jeremy Lin.
Directing?
No, like he's in
Jeremy
it.
Lin is the
He's a basketball player.
Oh.
Yeah. And I think
You're
he's
thinking of different.
and he's from the Bay Area, I think.
Yeah,
too.
he's Palo Alto.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, like a little, East Palo Alto, Dangerous Minds, Higher
I
Learning.
think he's from like the
in a
rich
TV show.
neighborhood though. He was,
Okay.
his parents were professors.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I see.
they were wealthy.
But I have to still figure out what is the Illuminati, what are their like messages today? Like what would it, I don't know what their agenda is. I'd have to come
I
up
mean,
with
it's probably to just make everybody get abortions.
Yeah, it might just be.
It's definitely different.
Divide and conquer, really.
It's like go to
Well,
Burning
it is
Man.
kind
I'm
of
pretty
like
sure.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
divide and
I mean,
conquer.
if I had to bet,
What do you say?
Said do mushrooms and go to Burning Man. I don't know.
if I had to bet, I would say it's like white replacement theory.
Oh yeah, no, for real,
Like
yeah.
that would be the thing because I mean it's like crazy. I mean if you
Right.
like poll people like I was reading a poll where like they said Caucasian people feel that it's
Right,
worse
right.
for Caucasian people now
That's
than
crazy.
it was for like African Americans in the 1950s.
What?
And it's
Oh,
because,
wow, that's
because they feel
insane.
like now they're not
Right,
like
right,
they don't
right.
have this opportunity
Uh-huh.
and like
That's
I
crazy.
feel like I mean and that explains like a lot of the shootings.
Right.
It explains a lot of like it explains Donald Trump. It explains
Right.
like
Absolutely.
Patriot, all the
They're really scared.
It's all
Yeah.
because Obama was president, which
Yeah.
I think sometimes
I
I wish that
know.
didn't happen in a sense.
I know.
Only because it.
I also blame the internet though, because the internet can get people into deep rabbit holes.
Yes.
And there are some
absolutely.
very radical groups that if it weren't for YouTube algorithms, they would have their ideas would have stayed radical and not been more or less
Absolutely.
mainstream for a
Completely.
big portion of the country.
Completely.
And that
Like-
white replacement theory comes from the South Africans, this group of South African racists in South Africa who are very scared that the black South Africans are going to murder them. So they live
That's
in the
where it
forest.
started decades ago or
Right,
something.
but that's just
Yeah.
their own guilt for
That-
how they treated them for so
for
long.
taking
It
over
really
the country.
is.
Like-
But it's interesting you say that. Like I agree with you, but it's like 5 minutes ago you were like, oh yeah, I'm from a place that's all Asian and richer than Beverly Hills. So you're giving them some fuel there, you know what I mean?
Well,
That's it, you guys. Thank you, Jennifer, for coming on with us. And please tell us where people can follow you.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess the social media handles at Miss Jennifer Field for Instagram, at Jennifer Field for Twitter.
And thank you all so much for listening. There are almost 3 million podcasts out there, and we are honored you've chosen to listen to ours. Please check out our website, unofficialofficialstory.com, for show notes or to hear our past episodes. Be sure to return next month where we will answer the next question. Which celebrities are immortal?
Keanu is.
The rapper Immortal Technique.
Jennifer Lopez and Gwen Stefani.
Oh my
Duh.
God,
Snoop
dude.
Dogg.
They don't age.
Dude.
Snoop
Mario
Dogg.
Lopez.
Mario Lopez.
That's true.
Find out.
We should
what's
bring
the
him on the
truth.
show.
Yeah.
I know, yeah. Ask him. That'd be a great
I'll
guest.
ask,
Our
yeah,
podcast
yeah.
would blow up.
That would be pretty amazing, yes.
And we could ask him directly. So, was Saved by the Bell part of the Illuminati?
yeah, right.
And are you immortal? You know, we should stab it.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, no. I'm sorry.
Right,
Can
right.
we ask him his plastic surgeon? I'd like to go.
Honored. I know.
Hey, I don't
right?
think he has any kind of work done. I think
Oh,
he's
really?
just
He's just
Really?
that good looking.
he's just moisturizing
He's
and
blessed.
eating well. Yeah, living a good life.
I'm going to ask him if he eats gluten.
Probably occasionally. Yeah.
Just on occasion, yeah.
All right. Thank you guys.
See you
Bye.
guys.
Bye.
Thank you.